Our demo session of the Databricks. Okay. So before we learn Databricks, we should know why we are using Databricks. Why not other tools? Why Databricks is so popular nowadays? Why there are a lot of openings for Databricks? What is the reason? There must be some reason. That is where like we try to learn this Databricks and apply, right? So that we are going to discuss. First thing is, so why Databricks is so special. So we'll discuss few points and then we'll go back to our slides. Okay. So first thing is, for suppose you have 1 TB of data, okay, that you need to load on daily basis. Like 1 TB of data that you want to load on daily basis. Right. So usually the traditional tools like it might be SSIS or it might be ADF or Data Factory or Informatica. So these tools, basically what it will do, it will try to use the single machine, one machine, or we can also call as one node to process the data, to process entire 1 TB of data. It is trying to use the same machine or node, we call it as node also, to process that 1 TB of data. So assume like, for suppose, we can assume, so to process 1 TB of data, it is taking like 4 hours. Data is huge. Assume like with the current configuration using the single machine. So we are trying to process in the sense, transform the data. So we are getting the data and trying to transform the data in the required format that is required by our business or a client. Right? To process that, assume like it is taking 4 hours because it has to use a single virtual machine or a node to process that 1 TB of data, right? So now if you use the Databricks in place, what will happen internally? So Databricks has one component that is called as cluster. We will create a cluster, and within that cluster, so within this cluster, we can allocate number of nodes that are required, nodes or virtual machines or machines required to to distribute 1 TB of data among multiple nodes, right? So in order to distribute 1 TB of data among multiple nodes, for suppose like you want to, yeah, that is fine. It will be covered. No issues with that. So in order to distribute 1 TB of data among multiple nodes, right? So it will try to distribute the data among multiple nodes. So assume like we have allocated around 10 nodes. We call it as 10 worker nodes also in Databricks terminology. So assume like we have allocated 10 worker nodes. Now, so one node will have some X number. So 10 GB of data something. Or another node will have, second node will have, it will process 10 more GB. So on. So the 10th node will have it will process another 10 GB of data. So now this 4 hours will be kind of divided among 10 nodes. So around like 4 into 60, it will become like 240. 240 divided by 5 or 10, sorry. So it will take 24 minutes, 24, 24, 24. So to process 1 terabyte of data, if you distribute the data across number of worker nodes, so we have reduced the processing time to 24 minutes, 24 minutes, right? So earlier, what we are discussing in the starting of the demo. So if you use the traditional tools like SSIS or ADF or Informatica, internally, it will not distribute the data. In the sense, it will try to use the same single virtual machine or a node to process entire 1 terabyte of data. So assume like if 1 terabyte of data processing is taking like 4 hours, right? So you are spending like same cost for memory or CPU, but it is taking 4 hours of data. Why? Because the internal architecture is it is trying to use the same machine or single node. But Databricks is not like that. Databricks is kind of having the distributed collection of nodes. We can have a flexibility to distribute the 1 terabyte of data among multiple nodes. Having said that, so the time will reduce because it will try to distribute and process the data among multiple nodes. So the 4 hours like we have brought into 24 minutes with the same cost. But what we are doing here, because we have reduced the time and also we have increased the number of worker nodes by, and we have distributed the data among the different worker nodes. So that is this architecture is also called as Spark architecture. Why it is called as Spark architecture? Because this internal Spark engine that is built by the company called as Spark, and that is taken over by the Databricks. Databricks now using this Spark architecture that is built by the Spark company. In the Spark architecture, it will try to, you can see some of the terminologies called as driver node that we are going to discuss soon. We have the cluster manager, as well as we have the worker nodes. So these are all the terminologies that you can hear within our Spark architecture. So because it is been built, this architecture, entire architecture is been built by the Spark, right? So this is basically trying to call it as the Spark architecture. So as I mentioned, it will it will be kind of using same like yes, Hadoop. Internally it uses some of the features like from the Hadoop. Okay. You can compare that, but it's not exactly the same because second advantage is in Hadoop, I am not that much work done, but the Hadoop architecture, it will try to process the data in the disk, isn't it? It will try to process the data in disk, but here it will try to, in the Databricks, it will try to process the data in memory. All the transformations and data processing will be done in the memory. So memory will be allocated by where? memory will be allocated while creating the cluster. So while creating the cluster itself, we will we will decide like how much memory is required, how many cores are required. Cores indicates that the processing speed of that particular class. The cluster that we are trying to use in order to process the data with given speed. So comparing the Hadoop will try to process the data in the disk and Databricks will try to process the data in the memory. Okay. So what is the advantage of that we gain if we process the data in the memory over the disk? Of course, like by using the disk, we can get some advantage of, you know, uh, using, the storing the data in the disk. Sometimes like if you are dealing with a small amount of data, I'll, we can use the disk. Okay. But if you are dealing with a large amount of data nowadays, why we are using Databricks? Because it will distribute the data. Second thing is that if you process the data in the memory, we can reduce the lot of input and output operations that are required. Because if you use the disk for larger amount of data, it will require to shuffle the data across different, virtual machines, and that will increase the
నేను ఏదో మీటింగ్ లో ఉంటా కదా.
that will basically decrease the performance, right? So that is why we will try to, kind of use the Databricks and it will try to process the data in memory so that we need not to shuffle the data. What is mean by shuffling? Why the shuffling is needed? Because for suppose you have 20 records are there, okay, and you want to remove the spaces from those 20 records. For suppose you have the leading spaces, you have the leading spaces, and you have the 20 records. Okay, you have applied a transformation called as trim. Okay, you want to remove the leading spaces or trailing spaces. Now what it will do, it will try to distribute the 20 records like 5, 5, 5 across different worker nodes. And it will remove the spaces from these 5 records and it will combine the data internally and it will give these 20 records without any spaces. So assume like you have 1 crore records. You have 1 crore records. So with using this traditional approach using the single machine, so it will be very difficult to process the data with a single machine. So the data should be distributed so that we can increase the performance by reducing the time and we can increase the processing speed. All right, this is kind of one example that I have given. Having said that, so we will go to our slide and discuss the advantages like of the Databricks nowadays, why we are using them. The first thing is, as I told you, Databricks will use the clusters. So the clusters are also called as Spark clusters because the entire internal architecture that we are using that is built by the Spark company. That is why it is called as Spark cluster. We can create Spark cluster within a minute through the Azure portal and we can try to use the different languages. Like what is the advantage? Another advantage, nowadays we can use PySpark and Python capabilities and we can customize our solutions. The transformation that we are applying, we can customize them. And if you are not very fond of Python, okay, I want to use the SQL or Scala or R language, still you can use it. But most of the customers, around 100 projects, 95% of the projects are using like combination of Python and the PySpark, right? The second thing is, so we kind of apply the security. Cannot change his style of. So can anybody, if you are not speaking, can you please mute? Okay, so, and second thing is we can apply the security at different levels. It has the integration with the feature called as Azure Active Directory. Using this Azure Active Directory authentication, we can create the users or user groups, and we can assign the different roles to different users. So what is role? Role is nothing but it will define what level of access that require for that particular user or user groups. So depends on that they were able to see the data and access the different objects within the Databricks. Like in the Databricks, you can hear like notebooks, clusters, jobs, and everything, right? So that we can implement the security at different levels, object level, as well as row level or column level that we are going to see. And scalable. So what is mean by scalability? The scalability is nothing but, for suppose you assume like you are going to get every day like 20 GB of data, right? So in order to process the 20 GB of data, you have defined like, okay, I need require 8 worker nodes or 6 worker nodes or 4, whatever it may. So all of a sudden, you define the max worker nodes are 8, but in order to process the 20 GB of data, it requires only 4 worker nodes because system identify automatically internally how many worker nodes are required. And 4 worker nodes will be idle, it will not do anything. All of a sudden, the data size got increased to 40 GB. Now, it will start utilizing that maximum number of worker nodes that you have allocated, that is 8 worker nodes. It will try to distribute the data and try to use it. So, there is a option called as auto scalability in the sense, depends on the size of data, it will try to use that many worker nodes internally in order to process the data so that we can get the maximum resource utilization whenever it is needed. Otherwise, it will not use fully. So this feature not only enable us to process the data without any failures, also it will save the cost associated with that because it will try to use as and when needed. So that is a scalability feature that we have, right? So now, next thing is, as I mentioned in the Databricks, the key components within the Databricks environments is the heart of the Databricks is cluster. Without cluster, you are not able to do anything. For suppose you are extracting data from external systems, like for suppose you have some files in your some storage. From that storage, first in order to apply your transformations, what you need to do, you have to bring the data and store it somewhere in the memory in the Databricks. Without that, you are not able to process it. So where that memory will be allocated? Within the cluster only. By creating the cluster, only you are able to allocate the memory. Without creating the cluster, you don't know, I mean that nobody will be able to process the data. So like cluster is a kind of a heart of the Databricks. Without cluster, we are not able to do anything. So by creating the cluster, we can allocate the memory. And while you are retrieving the data from any storage into your Databricks environment, so you will be storing the data for the processing in the memory, the cluster memory itself. And the second key components are notebooks. Notebooks are nothing but you can see the notepad in our system, right? What is the use of notepad? We can write some text, right? We can write some comments. Same here also. Same like it is a notebook is nothing but a text editor that we will be using in order to write some programming, like whether it will be in any language like SQL or Python and PySpark, and we can use it. Okay, you wrote your notebook and you have, if you want to execute the code within that, you have to attach to your cluster. Without attaching to cluster, you are not able to execute the commands within the notebooks. So that is the key thing. Okay, you have created the cluster and you have created the notebook and you have attached it to the cluster. You have tested the code. Now, do you want to execute them on daily basis? I don't want any manual intervention. I want to schedule the notebook execution on daily basis. I want to execute them without any manual intervention. At specified time, I want to execute them. So in that case, this jobs comes into the picture. Within the jobs, what we will do, we will try to create the schedule, and we can also call the different notebooks, and we can create the dependency among the different notebooks, and we can execute like when do you want to execute that notebooks. So that is the importance of the jobs over here. And workspace. So the cluster, jobs, notebooks, libraries, whatever that you create, you will be first creating the workspace indeed. First, you will create the Databricks workspace, and within that Databricks workspace, you will be creating the cluster, you will be creating the notebook, you will be creating the jobs and everything. And one more thing is, you can see the library section. Why we require this library section? So, library section is needed for suppose if any of the Databricks existing functionality is not able to achieve some of the goals, some of the functionality, some of the transformations is not able to perform with the existing functionality, then what we will do, we will find the external libraries and upload into the Databricks, and we will try to refer these libraries in order to work with the certain commands, right? So then only we will be required to use the library, otherwise we don't require, right? So as I mentioned, internally, what architecture it will be using? It will be using the Spark architecture, right? Driver program, and we also call it as a driver node. We will have one driver node. It will drive like how many worker nodes are. First, it will see the size of the data. This is the kind of entry point I can say. It will first read what is the size of the data, and it will try to distribute among the different worker nodes. Worker node 1, worker node 2, worker node 3, something like that. Depends on the maximum worker nodes that we have specified in the cluster. And it will try to distribute data among worker nodes. And this cluster manager will be responsible to allocate the resources required like CPU, memory, or cores, whatever it may be. It will internally try to allocate the resources that are required across different worker nodes. The worker nodes are kind of also called as virtual machines, right? So where the actual data will be processed internally. Actual data will be processed internally. As I mentioned, Azure Databricks can automatically scale up and scale down, depends on the size of the data. So what is cluster? Cluster is nothing but a set of virtual machines or nodes, right? So this is the whole story about this Spark architecture. So as I mentioned, somebody asked like we have the Hadoop, why Databricks, right? So the Hadoop is basically, it will try to process the data in the disk. For that, if you process the data, you require lot of data shuffling is required across different nodes or different machines. So that will slow down the performance. That means that we also call it as in other terminology, lots of input and output operations are required. So it will slow down the performance because it requires so many iterations. So that's why in the Databricks, we have replaced the disk with the memory. So that will reduce the data shuffling across the different nodes. As a result, we can improve the parallel processing, and we can try to distribute the data among different nodes and can increase the performance. So it will try to do the in-memory processing. So processing the data in the memory is fast than disk. So it will try to internally use the Spark distributed execution engine, which is developed by this Apache Spark. Now, as I mentioned, so it will be supporting multiple languages like R, SQL, Python, Scala, um, and it will try to what like after we extract the data, we will try to store the data in the form of data frames. Okay. So in the SQL Server, we will be storing the data in the form of tables. But in the Databricks, you will be storing the data in the form of data frames. And on top of the data frames, you will be processing the data. And nowadays, we can also get the streaming data. Streaming data means live data. For suppose you have the sensor data. Sensor means live sensor. Okay. So I can take one fine example like you are consuming some electricity in every minute, every hour, and every second. In that particular area, I want to know, I want to read that sensor data. Right now, you are consuming, you are a user, you are a customer, you are consuming some X amount of electricity. I want to display in my dashboard. So that is called as real-time data or streaming data. So that also is possible, like we can use some of the features like Delta Live tables and something, and we can try to also get the streaming data and we can build the dashboards and we can see the live data. The data streaming is also nowadays is a kind of that Databricks is supporting, right? So this is about Databricks features. So if you summarize the Databricks features, it's like mainly we can create the clusters in seconds and we can scale up and scale down the resources. It based on the depends on the size of the data, right? So it will internally use different APIs. APIs in the languages like R language, Scala, Python, and PySpark. And we will be using the jobs to schedule the notebooks. And as I mentioned, so it has also security wise, it is very strong because it has integration with the Azure Active Directory, and we can also apply the role based and column based security, and we can assign the permissions for different notebooks, clusters, and everything. And not only that, we can also integrate and extract the data directly from different sources. Like we have different storages like blob storage, data lake, or SQL database, right? We can connect to wide variety of cloud sources and we can extract the data. And second thing is, last thing is, sorry, we can directly connect to the Power BI and we can extract the data. So there is a concept called as delta table. So we will be storing the data into the delta tables and we can directly connect to the Databricks to and we can read the data directly storing getting the data from those delta table from Power BI. No need of any external storages like SQL server or anything. We can directly, load the data in the form of tables and we can extract the data into Power BI, right? So tomorrow our agenda is like we will try to see how can we set up this Databricks free trial account. We can do it in both the ways. I will try to see like through Azure portal how we can create it. Through without Azure portal access, how can we create it? So that we can see. So in short, like the agenda of our class is, this Databricks entire session, like I will be taking like 30 to 35 sessions. And within this first half of that, I will be covering PySpark, mainly PySpark. Without PySpark, you are not able to do anything within the Databricks. Okay, so that's why I will be covering PySpark first in first 12 to 15 classes, and later in the second half of it, we will try to explore the Databricks features like Databricks file system, Unity catalog, autoloader, how to load the data on incremental basis, what are delta tables and normal tables, and how to extract the data from, how to make the connection to different storages, all those things that we'll discuss in the second half. So It is very much important to learn PySpark. Without PySpark, you can't do anything, right? So this is the overall, time that I would like to take from you in order to demonstrate the features and as well as the planning of this class. Okay. So like I see like somebody is pinging, so I can see, I can address that. Okay. So it
Hi,
has,
sir.
yeah.
Um, I just want to know that are you going to guide us regarding the certification also?
Um, Certification, it's more not like certification oriented, I can say. If you
Okay.
want the guidance, I can guide you with that also. But it's more like we are exploring what are the features that we are going to use in our projects. That is my main
Oh,
focus. Okay.
okay.
So
Yeah.
that you can, extend your, skills to, go through the certificate. Certification is not a big issue. I can help you with that. First thing is you have to understand like what are all the transformation that we can apply using PySpark and how we can apply this PySpark in using different features. Okay, nowadays like there are latest features that are added like change data feed, Unity catalog. Okay, so this we will be focusing on because after
Got it. Yeah.
entering into the project, if you don't know this, you cannot do it. Okay, certification, I will help you with that. Don't worry about that. After
Yeah.
ending the class, you any like if you how to prepare for that and where if you want additional help, like also I will help you out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
that is one thing. And um, practical projects. Okay, so this class is basically to teach you the Databricks fundamentals and the features. At the end of the class, at the end of the database class, I will show you on the high level the project flow. Okay, I will also cover that. Okay, so high level, like nowadays we are using kind of the medallion architecture. You must have, if somebody do some R&D, we will be using medallion architecture where you have bronze layer, silver layer, and gold layer, and how we can get the data, how we can use like data factory and integrate with the Databricks, get store the data, and then how we can transform the data using PySpark, and how we can load the data on incremental basis. That flow I will explain. So that will cover the one round of the entire architecture that we are using in the project. That way I can help you out. Okay, at the end after completion of that class, one weekend I will try to guide you so that also I will give some references in Udemy after completion of that classes, so you can just go through that and you can if you have any queries you can totally kind of come to me and we'll mutually we'll discuss and we'll go further. Okay, that is one thing. So this is
And
not a
sir,
day.
we need
Hmm.
to know Azure Data Factory before we join the class. Like, do
It's
we need
not a
to know the basic?
prerequisite. Databricks and Data Factory, um, both are different tools, but in some projects, we will use Data Factory and the Databricks. Okay. For the
Okay.
Data Factory, if you don't know, so what I suggest you, parallelly, you can just watch some basic videos. And if you are
Okay.
interested, you can also join the Data Factory. I recommend that. Whoever is attending Databricks, okay, so you can join in Data Factory also. So that is a kind of added advantage for you. That will give
Okay.
more weightage while you are trying for jobs on Databricks and Data Factory. That will give you, I mean, you will get more calls and that will add more weightage to your CV. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
but it's not compulsory that you should know the Data Factory. Without data factory knowledge also, you can easily understand the Databricks. But I strongly recommend to learn the data factory. Because since you are spending some time and learning, I recommend, stretch yourself and try to learn the data factory also. That will be added advantage for your profile to you only.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And somebody is asking, I am totally new in data science. So one correction is here we are not teaching data science. We are teaching about only and how to handle the data. Data science is a different thing, that machine learning and everything. Okay, small correction. If you are, this is basically only for Databricks. If you want to join in ADF class, there is a dedicated ADF class is also will be going on. Please give your name. So you will be added to the data factory course also. Okay. So all of you, please drop if you are interested, please drop your mail. So we can add you to the separate batch within the ADF also. That will be going to start soon. Whoever is attending, I strongly recommend to join the data factory session also, so that you know you will be comfortable with the data factory and Databricks, so that you will get more calls. Right. So
And sir, when are you going to start this Azure Databricks? Like from next week?
Databricks, it will be starting from next week. We will have some uh, quick session tomorrow also. Like I will show you like how we can create the trial account and all. From the next week, we will be continue with our classes, regular classes. We will not delay it.
Okay.
Okay.
So you mentioned
So
it is 35 sessions, right?
yeah, around 35 sessions. And
Okay.
let's see, like it will be more than that only, because see,
Okay.
some of them are asking like, okay, we attended the classes, but we want to know the flow, like project flow, how it will run in real time. So I would like to cover that also. So it might extend. Okay, I will try to cover that in a weekend, and it might extend 4 to 5 classes, because after learning Databricks, we'll be curious to know how we will run the project in the real time. So that is why I just want to extend those sessions.
Yeah.
Hi,
Okay.
hi,
And
Raghavendra
every
here. Sorry, please go ahead. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I talk?
Yeah, you can talk. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I am from SAP background. So,
Hmm.
right? So I have almost 10 years, 10 plus years of experience. So
Right.
why we wanted to learn, right? So SAP Business Data Cloud, you would have heard that is integrated to Databricks. So that is the main purpose we wanted to learn. But
Hmm.
we, since someone suggested in our team, so it's good to learn the ADF. So that we started learning the ADF here itself only from the last 2 weeks. Okay. So
Hmm.
how there is a configuration between the Databricks and SAP tools. So can you explore that how we can configuration to other system, like getting the data from Databricks to other systems, so from other system to Databricks, just like SAP to Databricks and Databricks to SAP, those things.
Um, See, from other system sources, like mainly, I don't have the SCP environment, but that is
Mm-hmm.
possible. Like we can extract the data from
Mm-hmm.
SAP to
Mm-hmm.
the Databricks. But
Okay.
I don't know like how to do the reverse. I never done that. Databricks to SAP, I never done that. Okay.
No, no,
I
Okay.
didn't get
Okay.
actually,
that.
I don't know that, who is teaching that, but actually, I know the process and all from SAP to Databricks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Okay.
is the
Yeah.
file format as usually we are running through
So
file format
yes,
from
correct.
SAP.
So I mean, we will be literally will. It's not a kind
Yeah.
of direct connect. So we have to get the data. We have to dump
Mm-hmm.
it somewhere, and then SAP will consume.
Yeah.
Here
We should.
also, here also it is the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. Uh, we can first dump the data somewhere, and then we can data to data lake or blob storage, right?
Exactly.
And then we can blob. So after you get the data into the blob storage or data lake, what Databricks we can make? I mean, we can create a kind of notepad, and we can extract the data and create the data frame, and then we can apply the transformations. So
Okay.
there must be some backend process which will run. Either it will be data factory or some other third party tools. Most of the times we will be using the data factory for this purpose. Data factory can connect to the SAP directly,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it
Okay.
can extract the data and put it somewhere in the Azure. So
Okay.
mainly for data factory is a main advantage is it is like it can connect to any source like SAP, Salesforce, like local sources. I mean to say, not only
Mm-hmm.
cloud, through local sources. So that is where somewhere like clients are also interested in some of the cases. Okay, something we are not going to directly connect with the Databricks.
Yeah.
Okay, we can use
And
the
one
data
more,
factory and we can extract it.
yes, one more question. What about the Python? So is there something prerequisite to learn Databricks, or else we will teach the Python?
Obviously, we need to learn the basic Python. If you are not
Mm.
uh, at this point of time, it's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
after end of the course, you can take at least 1 or 2 weeks time. You can learn the basics of the
Okay.
Python.
But we
Okay?
are we are not gonna cover this, right?
No, I will. I
Python.
will. If you want, I can cover. If I mean, so I can cover one or two weekends. I can cover the basics of the
Yeah.
Python. In the PySpark, all the basic
Mm-hmm.
things will be covered. Like how to create the user-defined function, for loop. If indirectly, it will be covered. If you
Okay.
want to
Okay.
extend more on that, like some
Mm.
operations on the list, tuple, dictionary. So
Yeah. Yeah.
those things, we can explore.
Okay, that would be
Obviously,
better. Yeah, that would be great actually. So we
right.
should learn complete the Python. It's not like complete Python developer as such. Whatever we need,
Yes,
and
yes. So
so
whatever
that we
the
should.
basic things like looping, conditional, like if,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
some like how to define the user-defined function and write some customizations. So
Mhm.
until that, okay, if you are compatible, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, only Monday to Friday only, right?
Monday
Yes.
to Friday. If I miss because of
Mm-hmm.
any conflict of the meetings or if something happens, if I skip
Mm-hmm.
any class, that will be covered in the Saturday or Sunday, any one of these days.
But
Okay,
here we already getting the ADF, right? So it is in the evenings, evening 5 p.m. So initially, when I had a discussion with your management, so
Hmm.
the data breaks would be like in the morning session around 7 or 8 or something. So if you keep in the morning session, that would be fine actually.
So initially, what I'm planning is we will continue with the session in the evening. Okay? If all are agreed, if batch is confirmed, then we will push it to morning. Okay, that is the
Okay.
plan. If you are not comfortable with the morning, we'll continue here on. Either
Okay.
way, but we will take all of your opinion after batch is confirmed. Then we'll push it to morning.
Mm-mm. Okay, okay, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So first, as I told you, I will not go directly into the data. We will be focusing on PySpark, all the
Okay.
transformations.
Okay.
Okay.
But what about or SQL and all? That's fine. It's a basic. We can do that. But what about R? R also will be used in
Or
our.
it's, I mean, so to cover all of this, it's not required to learn R. You should, because I can see like in 99% of the projects we are using Python plus PySpark, wherever it is,
Okay.
basic Python plus
Okay.
PySpark. So
Okay.
don't worry about the R. Don't
Okay.
keep all the things in mind. You will be, becoming mad. So try to focus on
No, no, no.
PySpark
I'm
and
not. I don't know. That's what since you have mentioned, right?
no, no,
Uh,
I don't suggest to learn R at this point of
okay.
time. Don't
Okay.
even
Okay.
think about that.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
SQL and all we
Because
have learned in some way.
you will be confused with the syntax. Even I myself
Correct.
will kind of confused.
Okay.
If I
Okay.
start learning these multiple things. So
Okay.
whichever is needed, then we have to learn. Okay.
Okay.
For
That's
suppose
fine.
you
That's
enter into the project, that is your bad luck. Like okay, you are using R, and then
fine.
at this point of time, you can do some R&D and you can take the help from Google and you can
Correct. Correct.
solve
Okay.
the purpose that we know
For
already.
any
As you are,
point of view, we don't need the R, right? So
no, no,
then
no,
Python is
no.
the success. Okay.
99% projects are we are using PySpark plus basic Python. So don't worry about the R.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
And sorry, I'm asking more question. Final question. It's read
No, no, that
something.
is fine. That is really fine. That will address some other questions also. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And final thing. So how so we can get the opportunities, the companies, like an SAP. So SAP guy. So if I add the Azure Databricks, how I can get the opportunities?
See,
What?
how you have to project is
Mm-hmm.
you have to first, showcase. For suppose you have 8 years of experience, you said, right? So you have to show them like 4 years on SAP and 4 years on Databricks plus ADF plus, that combination. So that you will be still considered as a 8 years guy and you will get the opportunities on Databricks and ADF.
Okay, okay.
You got it? So do if you show as 8 years as SAP, then who will call you? They will consider like
Yeah.
SAP guy only. That way
Yeah.
you have to prepare your CV. And if you, after end of course, if you need some guidance on that, I will help you also. If you
Thank
personally
you.
meet me, I will guide you through that.
Definitely, it would be, yeah, it will be
Yeah.
fine.
So, but since you have 8 years on SAP, so you have to project like you have worked on 4 years at
Correct.
least.
Yes,
Then
yes,
only you will get calls on Azure side. Otherwise, you will not get.
yes.
What,
Okay.
what you said, sir? 4 years for SAP and 4 years for what?
Databricks and ADF, these tools.
Okay, okay. Sir, tell me one thing. Uh, uh, I'm totally new to this data science. I mean, data engineering also.
Data
Previously,
science
I
is
was.
different, man. Don't get confused between data
No,
science
no,
and
I
data.
understand.
Data
Actually,
engineering is
this
different.
handling. I'm in teaching background only. I was teaching as assistant professor,
Ah,
but I never deal with this database and these all of
that
things.
is fine. It is, see, you will not find any hard code programming, but see, uh,
The programming is fine
ADF,
for me actually. I don't have any
that if
problem with
that is
programming.
fine, so you can also deep dive into Python, even though it is not needed, but you can deep dive. That will be added
Yeah,
advantage,
no, I
and
have a good
you
hand in Java actually, sir.
then that is fine. Then you don't have any issue. So what I
Yeah, no,
suggest is, even though you don't have the background of it, like see,
uh,
many of the people, those who are having gap of 4 years or 5 years, they are learning and getting the jobs without even having prior
okay,
knowledge. Only thing is, from
okay,
now onwards, how you are using your time and deep diving into this, and what I suggest is practice on daily basis. Okay,
right,
that
right.
will keep you in touch, and that will be, you'll be kind of easily transitioned into your data factory and data bricks.
Right. The other thing is the database actually basically it is for data engineering purpose, yeah, to extract the
Right,
data
right,
from
definitely,
cloud
definitely,
and
definitely.
to transform in the usable form. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
Okay, okay. So I heard from some people that it can be used in data science also. So
Data
maybe
science also, Databricks has capabilities.
also
You
okay,
can also run
okay,
your models, machine learning models, and you can also train your
okay,
model, or test your model. You can do some prediction.
okay,
But our course
okay,
is
sir.
not
Sir,
covers the data science part because that is a ocean.
right, right,
So if you
right.
that is a separate thing.
The last question, sir. Yes, I understand. The last question is, we will learn this PySpark and this Databricks. Is it enough for data engineering? I mean, for now,
So as I told you,
enough.
you have to learn the
Yeah,
Databricks data factory also.
data factory also. Okay, okay.
Correct.
Got it.
So I mean, Databricks,
So
it's
PySpark,
a
Databricks, and Azure Data Factory. That's it.
right. Both you have to learn. That will be really
Okay.
add advantage, while that will add more weightage to your seat.
And some people are suggesting that you go for the Microsoft Fabric.
Microsoft Fabric is combination of all these tools only. In Microsoft
Okay.
Fabric is nothing but it is a group of data factory, Databricks, and Power BI tools only. It's a, even though it is a
Okay.
separate tool, but it's a combination of all
Mm-hmm.
these tools. So don't worry
Right.
about the Fabric at this moment. Just try to
Right.
learn data factory and Databricks.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have couple of questions actually.
Yes.
See, I am a data modeler, and last a few years I have been working as a data modeler and data analyst. I just want to know from a layman perspective,
Mm.
Delta Lake and Databricks. Shall I cover both? I mean, as I know, like Databricks, I understood, but from Delta Lake perspective, any concept or any mechanism of implementation are going to cover in this
Yes,
particular?
yes. Obviously, we'll be covering Delta Lake. Without Delta Lake, there won't be any Databricks class. So we
Okay.
will be covering Delta Lake and the features of it and how we can incrementally load the data into the Delta Lake and how dynamically we can handle the schema changes. Those things we'll be discussing for sure.
And what kind of SQL is getting generated by this tool? Like it's a NoSQL or SQL based, like the way syntax we used
It
to
is
write
more
before
like
it?
SQL syntax.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, to fetch any data from any particular target table, like can we hard code the SQL syntax here?
Yeah, yeah. So more like we can use SQL, but mostly we'll be using PySpark.
Okay. PySpark.
PySpark. Yes.
Okay. Because I mean, earlier I have worked in Informatica. So in
Yeah,
comparison with
you
Informatica,
can compare that. You can compare that.
because we have come across, a lot of transformation rules and transformation
Yeah, yeah.
mechanisms like
Yes,
router
yes.
transformation, joiner transformation.
Yes, yes. You can
Uh,
correlate. You can correlate. Yeah.
so those kind of things, mechanism also we can implement using Databricks, right?
Right, right. Yes. Same things.
Okay.
Same things, but using the PySpark.
Okay. I think this is more, I mean, mostly covering to, is it kind of related to cloud based
Yeah,
application?
it is a cloud only, Azure Databricks.
Okay.
That is why this tool itself is a Azure Databricks. It is kind of cloud only.
Okay, because I'm completely new to this environment, this Databricks and all. Like, so as a layman point of view, like, what should we have from basic concept point of view? Like, what we should know?
So basic point of concept point of view, you should know at least some basic SQL. That's it. That is more
Okay,
than enough. And you have to attend Data Factory and Databricks both.
okay. And then what about indexing, partitioning, those kind of mechanism? I mean, mechanism also can we implement here?
We can implement that, but here we call it as partitioning.
Okay,
We'll not
partitioning.
apply
Okay,
directly indexing, but here we'll
okay,
do the partitioning. So that will
okay.
enable us to distribute, divide the data, not distribute, divide the data
Mm-hmm,
into small chunks of data so that whenever we user try to retrieve the data, it will go to that partition which has the actual data instead of
mm-hmm.
searching the entire file or table.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Sir, if I want to meet you by tomorrow, so will you be available in office at what time?
Tomorrow I may not be available, but Saturday I will try to meet you.
Saturday. So, sir,
Saturday I
may
will
I
be
ask
able.
your good name, please?
My good name is Ramesh.
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 Ramesh, what would be the timing going forward? This
Going
is the time?
forward, it will be for now, it will be evening 8. Maybe
Okay,
after Dasra, then after taking all of your opinions, whether we'll continue at 8 in the evening or 8 in the morning. It depends, 8 or 9 in the morning.
okay,
We will see. Okay. So after the batch is confirmed, then we will start slowly initial 1 week. Now after the batch is confirmed, then we will decide. We will ask everybody's opinion and we will decide.
okay. Next, based on this decision, then we will continue after Dasera. You mean to say, right?
Right. So we will
Okay,
have the regular classes. Okay.
okay,
Only for 2 or 3 days like Dasara, we
okay,
might take the gap and then we'll continue. No issues with
okay.
that.
And what about tool access? This is not the free
This is
source, right?
free. This is
Oh,
free.
okay,
Only some of the features will not support it. That I will tell you. So that you have to see the videos and or if anybody having the paid license in your organization, you can practice there. But
okay,
most of our stuff we can practice for free.
okay.
No need to pay anything.
And other also we need to take the subscription or no? No need.
No, no. It is for free only.
No, no, for Azure, no, the
Yeah,
cloud.
Azure
I mean.
also I'm telling. It is for
Okay,
free.
okay.
Hmm.
Just one point actually here.
you're saying that for one guy, they are having 2 3 years of experience, so they can add 4 years as a SAP and 4 years as a database. So can we manage 4 years of experience by learning your Azure database?
Yes, we can learn. So apart from what I teach, you can also spend some extra time in preparing yourself, gathering some materials on internet, you know, and then practice 2 or 3 times. Definitely, I can say that you will be able to work on. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So
because
you
four
have to
years
be
experience.
basically proactive.
Yeah, yeah. But if we are adding 4 years of experience, we should be very strong, man. So, however, we are creating pipelines different in the ADF as well as here for the notebooks. So we cannot, let's assume that for the ADF, right? By creating only one pipe, we can do many things. But some of the junior experience, they're going to create 3 to 4 pipelines and they distribute the work. Such kind of, can we achieve your classes like
Yeah, yeah.
experience?
So if you attend my data factory class, you'll come to know like more. Instead of teaching theory, I will be try to break down some of the complex pipelines and teach you day by day. So that will cover entire thing. So with that, you can easily work on it.
Yeah, yeah. Same thing, Databricks also. We can manage for 4 years.
Databricks also, right?
Hi, Kamal this side.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm totally new to this. If I start with Azure Databricks, is it okay?
yeah, man. Yes, most of the people are transitioning from different field to this data side. No issues with that.
Okay. And
The only thing
additionally,
is,
yeah,
please try
please.
to practice on daily basis. If you take
Okay.
the break, like you had my classes, you're not
Okay.
practiced, and you will, after 2 weeks, you want to, start practicing, then, you will be kind of not in touch. Practice on
Okay.
daily basis,
Okay.
then easily you will be able to transition into data side.
Okay. And will I be able to get more opportunities into Databricks? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
outside.
man. It's a kind of art in a market now.
Okay. And you're suggesting ADF also. That's the reason I'm
ADF
asking.
also. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Ramesh, I have a query. Manoj here.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, Ramesh, so far I haven't interacted with any classes like ADF and all what you said. From
Hmm.
so far, the ADF classes are going on, right? But
Hmm.
just an example, if you are going to conduct a new classes like ADF and Databricks,
Hmm.
which is in evening classes or which is in morning classes, I'm flexible
ADF
for
will
giving
be
them.
ADF will be morning for sure.
Okay,
And
okay,
Databricks, if you are comfortable, we will also shift to morning. Otherwise, we'll continue in the evening. So it depends on all of the opinions.
okay. In this case, I'm not flexible for morning shifts. That's the reason only I was doing the general shift. I'm not able to attend those classes also.
So we
Okay,
will
may I know
see. I
the
mean,
total? Hmm,
we will see. Like if the count is more, we'll
hmm,
try to keep one batch in the evening also for data fact. Okay.
okay,
So, but drop your
okay.
emails like whoever is
Yeah, I
mention your
shared
timing.
on our chat itself.
Okay. So our team
Okay.
drop your numbers also, please, because dropping mail will not help out to reach
Yeah,
you.
yeah, fine.
Drop your numbers, everybody's
True, true.
numbers and emails, so that we can get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sir,
So,
Okay.
so please drop your numbers and mails
In the
here.
top of the email, I will want to add that.
Yeah, you can just drop everybody. I'm requesting drop your numbers and emails right now, so that our team will get back to you, and you can ask the queries regarding the timings and everything, so that based on our demand we
In
can
fee structure also,
either.
they will go into explaining us.
Sorry.
In fee structure also, they will go into explaining
Yes,
us.
they will guide you. They will guide you on that.
Fine, fine.
Anyway, they will call you back after this session tomorrow, and they will
Okay.
explain you, and you can inquire about the data factory and all those things also.
All right, all right.
sir, it will be suitable to attend both the classes parallelly, Azure Factory and ADF
You
and
can easily attend parallelly. Okay. The only thing is you should have some time for practice that you have to, spend some
Okay.
time.
Right.
Just listening will not work out,
Yeah, definitely.
right? So that is one tip that you should practice. If you are listening, you will think of, okay, I am understanding, but while actually practicing, then you will come to know like where you are struggling.
It can be done in 45 days, I think.
Right.
Ramesh, are we going to cover these sessions like landing, bronze, silver,
Yes,
all
yes, we
the?
will be covering medallion architecture. That is very
Mhm.
famous and we are using in the projects.
Yeah, in
Definitely, I
our
will cover.
project, the same section is also there. That is the
Yeah,
reason.
yeah,
Only.
we will cover.
Okay. And Databricks itself, data factory itself, are we going to do dynamic pipelines
Yeah,
or
always
else
we'll
into
be
one more?
doing the dynamic pipelines only, most of the times,
Oh,
not static one.
okay.
But that will be covered in the data factory class, not in the Databricks.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah,
understood. Okay.
yeah. Okay, so I think lots of doubts. Still, if you have any doubts, so we can discuss tomorrow also.
Yeah,
Okay,
hello.
we'll take some, we will find some time back tomorrow also. And if you have anything in your mind, we can discuss tomorrow also. Okay.
Yeah, am I audible? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Ramesh. Yeah,
Yeah, tell me.
Ramesh, actually, I picked the two query in the
Mm,
chat box. Actually, the thing is this, I want to do this course because right now, I'm Informatica developer, basically.
mm,
And in my organization, we are migrating from Informatica to Databricks. So
mm,
we are already migrated. Most
mm,
of the flow we have already migrated
mm.
to the Databricks. So my main concern is this. Actually, when I see the codes, so I don't able to understand the code sometimes, like creating the pipeline of the streaming data and batch data, how they are processing, what the code they are using. So some of the code I can really understand, but actually I want to learn how to process the batch data, streaming data. So will you also cover that things?
Streaming data, actually, we don't have the environment, man. That is the main drawback. I don't have the,
Okay.
I would like to show, but we don't have the environment. That is why I cannot show it. But the batch data, you can always, we are using the batch processing. Like, so that from this course, you can mainly, we'll be focusing on batch processing. But if I find some source, real-time source, we can also discuss 1 or 2 sessions on the streaming data. But I have to see whether it is feasible or
Yeah,
not.
because I think as I know, most of the projects they have both streaming and batch data.
Right. So
Yeah.
streaming is very minimal, I can say. But batch data will be mostly finding in all the projects. Streaming is more like project specific. Yeah, that I agree. That I agree. I mean, if it is feasible, I will show 1 or 2 sessions like how we can process the streaming data also. But our course is mainly focused on the batch data.
And so will you also cover or let us know how to create the pipeline for batch data, how to extract
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and how
That
to
that.
transform and how to load into that
Hmm. That I will cover. Yeah.
Azure. Actually,
Right,
right now I'm
right,
working in AWS Databricks. I don't have that
right.
Azure Database in my project. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm working in AWS.
Okay. So that I will show you. No issues with that. Okay. So thank you for attending the session.
Thank you.
So we will meet tomorrow and we'll try to address if any of the additional queries